Hello and welcome to today's English lesson. My name is Stuart. In today's lesson, we're looking at when we use infinitive structures with to. Let's go to the intro. Now, as I said, today's lesson is looking at when we use infinitives with to. And of course, you know that we can use infinitives with to, or we can use infinitives without to, which are called the bare infinitive. And I did a video a few months ago on that topic, which I will link down here below. So you'll be able to have a look at that video as well and compare the two. So today's lesson, with to. Now, the main reason that we use the infinitive with to is for this here, which is purpose. So, examples. I went to the shop to buy some milk. I went to the shop to buy some milk. That is the purpose, or the reason that I went to the shop was to buy some milk. So for purpose, the number one. Second example here, sentence. He called the bank to complain about the fees. What was the reason he called the bank? He called the bank to complain about the fees. That was the purpose of his phone call, to complain about the fees. Because let's be honest, nobody likes to pay bank fees. Even though the banks want us to pay fees, nobody likes to pay fees. So he called the bank to complain about the fees. The second example here of when we use infinitives with to are after adjectives. Normally for adjectives that show reactions and feelings, but we can also use it for other adjectives as well. For example, right or wrong, and another one I have here. So I'll show you that in a minute. So the example sentences after adjectives. We are pleased to inform you that you have won a car. We're pleased to inform you that you have won a car. So pleased to inform. Here's the infinitive with to structure. Second example. After last month's results, he is unlikely to get the promotion. He's unlikely to get the promotion because his results last month were bad. So he's unlikely to get the promotion. So unlikely to get. And it was sad to hear about your loss. Sad to hear about your loss. So this person obviously suffered a loss in their family, and I was sad to hear about that loss. So the feelings, reactions, and for some other adjectives as well, right, wrong, likely, unlikely, etc. So you just have to know which ones we can use there. So, purpose first of all, after adjectives. The third structure is after main verbs. Now, when we say main verbs, what do we mean? Well, we mean verbs like afford, agree, begin, decide, etc. Now, there are lists of verbs that we can use with this structure. Remember that some verbs take a gerund, other verbs take the infinitive. Some verbs take the infinitive with to, some take the bare infinitive. So you have to learn the verbs individually. So afford, agree, begin, decide are some examples. So I can't afford to pay the rent this month. I've got no money. I can't afford to pay the rent this month. Always that infinitive with to structure. I can't afford to pay the rent this month. She has decided to pack her bags and move to another city. Perhaps she can't afford to pay the rent either, so she's moving to another city. So she has decided to pack her bags and move to another country. Okay, so it's one of those lists of verbs that we can use with this structure. Remember, you'll need to learn the verbs individually and practice. Practice writing, practice speaking. The fourth structure is after the object of the verb. Okay, the object of the verb. Now this structure is similar, but we have the object in the middle. And this is common with verbs like allow, ask, expect, forbid, etc. Again, know the verbs. So, examples. She told him, okay, here's your object. Your object is here. She told him to pick up the kids from school. She told him to pick up the kids from school. Okay, that's the object of the verb. The verb, here's the object, here's the infinitive. Another example. His boss allowed him to go home early. His boss allowed him to go home early. So allow him, object, to go home early. So his boss allowed him to go home early because he had to pick up the kids from school, because that's what his wife told him to do. So he had to go home early from work to pick up the kids from school. So that is the fourth example of when we use this infinitive with to structure. And the last one that I'll show you here, even though this one is not common anymore, it can still be used in a more formal style of English. It's when we have the subject of the sentence in the infinitive. So for example, to arrive late would be an insult to our hosts. Or to understand this lesson, you need to pay attention. Now, I said that this is not very common anymore because people use different structures to say the same thing. So for example, we would be insulting our hosts if we arrive late, for example, you could say. Or you need to pay attention if you want to understand this lesson. Or you need to pay attention to understand this lesson. So there's other more common ways nowadays of using this type of structure. But remember, it is possible to use the infinitive with to as the subject of the sentence. So, to summarize, purpose, after adjectives, after main verbs, after object of the verb structures, okay, the object of the verb structures, and after subjects of a sentence. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that we use infinitives with to. Now, thank you very much for watching the lesson. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Remember to share the video on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest. Share it up on social media. I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a good day. Bye.